Any decision about military force, which was often raised, we think would have to be done in consultation with the United Nations and with the Haitian government. And so that is not off the table, but that is not in play at the moment.
It was President Biden speaking about the idea of a military mission to Haiti, which he says is not off the table right now, although it doesn't seem to be making a lot of progress either. Biden made those comments during his visit. As gang violence spreads in Haiti, Canada has now pledged $100 million to support Haiti's national police. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, was recently in Haiti. I spoke to him earlier about the situation on the ground and what the international community should be doing to help. High Commissioner Turk, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
I want to start with your recent visit to Haiti, I believe was back in February, and just get a sense of what you saw and what that was like for you to be there on the ground.
I mean, it's an absolutely horrific situation. You have to imagine 60% of the urban area in the capital, Port-au-Prince, is essentially governed by gangs. And it means that there are snipers, people shooting at children, there is sexual violence, there are killings, kidnappings, and unfortunately, ever since I left, the situation has only become worse.
So what are we talking about in terms of human rights violations? How many were you able to sort of count off and check off?
So since the beginning of the year, and that's just in the last couple of months, less than 3 months actually, 627 people were killed by gangs. 365 people were kidnapped. Over a couple of hundred people were injured. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You have to imagine that now about half of the population is in need of humanitarian assistance because, of course, if the gangs control these areas, it's very difficult for proper supply chain to work, for children to be able to go to school, for women to even give birth in a hospital because they won't be able to do that.
We spoke last week to Médecins Sans Frontières in Port-au-Prince, who say that they've seen more than 100 bullet injuries in 1 week. I'm sure you know that the WHO's scientific community, Dr. William Pape, has warned that he believes Haiti could be on the road to a Rwanda-scale massacre. Would you agree with that comparison? Do you think it is going to be that bad if there is not some sort of intervention or international help?
I mean, first of all, it is absolutely critical that the international community focuses on the situation in Haiti. I mean, I feel, and that was part of the reason why I went beginning of February, I feel it's off the headlines. People need to talk about it. The international community has to become engaged. And that's absolutely critical. And I mean, it's a rapidly deteriorating situation that we are faced with now, and urgent action is required.
You ended that visit with a call, as you say, for the international community to consider deploying a specialized support force. Is that still the position of the United Nations, or would you be looking for a peacekeeping mission? And is there a difference, I guess, between those two ideas?
There are lots of lessons to be learned from previous engagement in Haiti. I firmly believe that it is important to support the national police, but it can only be done through an international support force of sorts that is time-bound, that capacitates, that gives the intelligence, that provides the type of support that the national police need. And that's absolutely critical, but it's one of many measures. We also need a strict enforcement of the arms embargo, and we need a functioning sanctions regime against the political and economic elites that support the gangs. And we need the political process to go forward. That's absolutely critical. So we need a range of measures that work.
How hampered is the United Nations by its ability to lead any mission there because of past experiences where things went so badly wrong with the mission on the ground there?
I think we need to look towards, well, first of all, the United Nations has been there, as you say, for quite a long time. There are lots of lessons to be learned from previous engagement. That's absolutely clear. But we really need to look at the current situation and do our utmost with the international community to provide that type of support that I've just mentioned. Yeah. And that's what needs to be done.
We understand that this country is going to pledge something like $100 million to Haiti's police force for equipment, support, and training. This becomes, obviously, as Canada has been under some pressure from the United States to bring in a multinational force. Is there a police force to train? Would money for police training, support, would that help?
Look, if I look at the gangs, the ammunition and the weapons that the gangs have, they are very modern. They totally outsmart the national police. I do think that you have police officers, and I've been able to talk to the chiefs of many of them, who are actually wanting to do something about it. But they need better equipment, they need the training, they need the support from the international community to be able to do their jobs. And they need to reform themselves. I think it's absolutely clear that the police reform in the security sector and the judicial reform are absolutely key.
Do they also need to be paid more? Because it's my understanding that because they are not paid adequately, they are easily bought off by gangs.
That's exactly part of the problem. They need to get a proper salary for an incredibly horrible job that they have to undertake. So yes, absolutely.
What do you say to those who believe that this needs to be a Haitian-led solution, that foreign intervention has not worked in the past, and that somehow it has to be the international community equipping Haiti to solve this?
I believe very much in national ownership, but it has to be supported and accompanied national ownership. I think one of the big lessons to be learned from the past is precisely this. You need to empower exactly those who want to reform. You need to empower those who want to press ahead. You need to empower those who also fight corruption and who fight the impunity that still reigns in the country.
What can the international community do immediately? Beyond talking about it, because you're right, obviously a lot of focus has been on Ukraine. Beyond getting it in the headlines and discussing the situation, what can the world be doing right now?
It's absolutely critical to immediately enforce the arms embargo. There's not one single arm that is produced in Haiti, but there are still arms flowing into the country. And,
right.
I think there's enough information out there where these arms are coming from and who is transporting them. So I think that has to stop. Then the sanctions regime has to work, and it has to be comprehensive against all of those who support these gangs. And the national police has to be supported through an international support force, specialized force that is very capable of working in this type of urban areas where essentially you have guerrilla warfare tactics.
Are you hopeful these things can happen?
I think hope springs eternal. I always believe that if there is political will to go ahead on this, and it has to be between the national community, between the Haitian society and the Haitian political elite and the international community, but they need to work hand in glove on this.
Okay. Volker Turk, thank you so much for making the time on this important story. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.